Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome all my friends to the show that once again has some things to talk about, Scott.
Yeah, I was going to do an opening question, but I thought I should tell a little story. And I think at least halfway through the story, you'll probably figure out where the story's going, Tim. But so a couple of years ago, we have a really great dog, Tim. He is a Rottweiler Lab mix. So I guess what they call them, Rabs, I think is what they're called in the industry. Fantastic dog, Tim. He was potty trained very early on. He has the bladder control of a 25-year-old man. I mean, he can go hours without peeing, waits to go outside. Fantastic. But he does have one Achilles heel, and that is that he likes cat food. And we've been told that he likes the cat food because it's higher in protein, I think, than his dog food is. And so one day we had some wet cat food out. He eats the wet cat food, and it goes through his system like Taco Bell, Tim. He had diarrhea, and I lost my sense of smell during COVID, and I was never so thankful that I had lost my sense of smell when I came home and I found diarrhea all on the stairs. He just let everything out. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, Tim. Do you have any pets at the house?
Not currently.
Have you ever owned a pet?
I have.
So what do you do when they make a mess in the home?
I mean, you clean it up. The method depends on
what
your floor is.
So you cleaned it up, and that's where, and immediately when things happen, because Ann was still living with us at the time, because this is a couple of years ago. So, first you had the blame game. Okay, do we blame the dog? Okay, well, the dog, made a mess in the house. Is it the dog's fault? The dog ate the cat food, shouldn't be eating the cat food. Okay, do we blame, one of us for leaving the cat food accessible? Do you blame us for, giving them wet cat food whenever, obviously it was going to give the dog problems, right? There's the blame game. And the blame game, has its place. But see, if you walked into a house and you saw dog shit on the ground, but you saw the dog just literally take a shit right in front of you, would you call the homeowners messy?
Yes.
If the dog took a shit in front of you, in that moment, would you say that would you blame that on the homeowners?
I mean, I guess not. No.
But if you came in a week later and the dog shit was still there, what would you say then?
And yeah, they are disgusting.
So I'm sure you figured out where my allegory is going here, Tim. We will have discussions, and I'm sure that we'll have them in January, February, whenever, Who was to blame for this Nick Caley debacle? I mean, who was the one who hired him? Should they have known this was coming? Should we have known this was coming? But the Texans have taken a shit on the stairs. And I think you and I have both, because we're functioning adults with, that we can watch football and figure out what's going on. Both of us are out on Nick Caley. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, the Texans have taken a shit on the stairs. Now we can sit there and talk for an hour and a half about whose fault it is and all this, that, and the other. But the very first thing you got to do is you got to clean up the shit off the stairs. So my opening question for the Texans is, and for you, is what is your exit strategy here? I mean, do you have one?
I mean, you have to make some change, right? I think at this point you either look internally, and that's I guess Gerard Johnson becomes the option there to possibly be another first-time play caller. You know,
Bill
maybe
Lazor.
to. But I sent you his record as like a head coach and a play caller. Like it was not good.
No, it wasn't.
It was. But I mean, I don't know, right? Like I don't know what the exit strategy is because you kind of set yourself up with the way this staff is built. You don't have one, right? Like if you had if the offense had been humming and you gave up a shit ton of points and the play calling was terrible on defense, like the answer is obviously D'Amico takes over play calling, right? But like that wasn't the issue. The issue was 100% the offense, which D'Amico doesn't really have that knowledge in. I think obviously he should be more involved in the game plan, which I feel like he has set himself up to be. But I mean, at the end of the day, Scott, you had 15 motherfucking days to prepare for this game. And on multiple 4th-and-1 play calls, you ran the same fucking halfback dive behind left guard and got absolutely fucking bull rushed. And you lost yardages on both of them. And you're doing it with your receiving back, Woody Marks, when Nick Chubb is I guess more of the inside back. I guess not. You've got Dameon Pierce, who is a waste of a roster space. If anything, that's what you're there for, Dame. Yeah, exactly. What are you doing? Because if anything, that's what you keep that guy there for, is to go pick up the 1-yard fucking situations, but he can't even suit up for that. Like, I don't know what the exit strategy is, Scott, because you've literally set yourself up with nobody else on this coaching staff. I feel like maybe it's Lazor, but somebody else has to take the reins on the play call because even the broadcasting team is literally sitting there calling out what the Texans should do, and they do the opposite of it, and they're just ripping them. They are ripping them for their play calls.
Well, everybody is sitting there, quarterback sneak, tush push,
something,
play action. Whatever you do, don't do a slow developing running play. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen this commercial because it's been years, but there was a commercial where a woman's going into a car shop and she's getting a new battery, and the battery obviously doesn't fit. And so you see like the mechanics are like trying to beat it into place. And then mechanics and she's like, I don't think it fits. And they're like, ma'am, we've been doing this a long time. And so they flash back to when they're kids, and you see the bigger kid trying to hit a circle into a square hole. It's not going in. And the other kid, just keep hitting it. And he forces it in, breaks the whole toy. And the other kid's like, good job. That's the Texans offense right now. Square peg, round hole. Just keep hitting it. It's not going in.
I mean, I think you could have given them 10 straight carries from the 1-yard line, and I don't think they get in. That defensive front, first of all, is phenomenal. And you have to know that going in. Number two, your offensive line is not great. There was one like legitimately decent play call on protection perspective, it was the 2-point conversion attempt after the Will Anderson touchdown, where they brought a wide receiver around like a fake end around to chip a potential blitzer. But then you only literally had like one available receiver in the area that CJ's looking. Like you're running a boot to the right with only one receiver in the area coming back across the back of the end zone. Like you had one shot to hit it and that's it. So I mean the play calling is terrible. The scheming is terrible. The way that again we're back to having tight ends blocking offensive linemen, which I was told that's done. I was told that we're done doing that. But here we are again with I'm sorry, defensive linemen, but you're having a tight end blocking elite pass rushers one-on-one. You're
So
having Dari out there again in third down situations, pass blocking and getting blown up, one, whiffing on blocks, two. Like again, what are we doing, Scott? What the fuck are we doing?
okay, so a couple of things. Number one, what I was going to say is moving this along. Um, I think if you fire him after 7 or 8 weeks, I get that looks terrible. It does. It looks terrible. I don't know if a coordinator's ever been fired that quickly. Can you remember a coordinator ever been fired less than halfway into a season?
I think Bryce Young's rookie year they cleared out pretty quickly the Panthers coaching staff because that didn't go anywhere. But other than that, I really can't think of anything.
But was that like literally the coordinator's first year? I mean, if it
Yeah, I
was,
don't know.
I mean,
Well, they had just hired Frank Reich, and Frank Reich brought his whole staff in.
so yeah, I guess okay, but I don't know that was less than halfway through the year. But here, so I get that it looks bad, but see, I've been on the other end of this. I've been a head coach a couple of different times. I was a head coach at a Catholic school, which was a very successful season for me, and then I went to Ball High, and I can tell you, I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable because nothing I was doing, it seemed like nothing I was doing worked. And so I know the kids are miserable. I was miserable. And see, the thing is what I know from that standpoint is that Nick Caley's miserable. He has to be. And so to me, if you're firing, it's almost an act of mercy at this point because, I mean, he's befuddled. So, but moving this along, I'm going to give you a multiple choice. Okay. We can keep Nick Caley as offensive coordinator and kind of do what I would call a soft firing. So I would call this the who's that the Hackett, from the Jets. They didn't fire him, but they took play calling away from him. So that's option one: is you could not fire him, but you could give Gerard Johnson play calling duties. We'll say. Option two is you fire him. Gerard Johnson is calling plays, but from Nick Caley's playbook. And then option three is we're completely throwing out the playbook and we're designing something new. So, of those three options, which would you go with?
I mean, I think you have to keep the playbook this season. Someone else has to call plays from what is the current playbook. I don't think you can.
Yeah, that's either option. Yeah, Nick Haley's not calling plays.
No, Nick Caley to me needs to be done calling plays, but he's not going to be. He's not going to be. And you know why? This is the thing that pissed me off the most about everything that happened. Like, if I'm D'Amico Ryans, I should be fucking pissed, right? Like, your defense forced 4 turnovers and your special teams blocked a field goal. And the response to all the questions about Nick Caley is hey, that was a 1-possession game. We almost, we were a touchdown away from winning that game. Are you fucking kidding me? You force 4 turnovers and you block a field goal. You should blow people out.
And yet a defensive touchdown.
And a defensive touchdown. Yes, thank you. Your game plan was fucking terrible. Not to mention, you let Jackson Smith and Jigba just run fucking wild all night. You didn't put a hand on him at the line of scrimmage, and he just worked you. You let Kamir last year get fucking worked. You sent no help his way, and you let him get worked time and time and time again. Like you had 15 fucking days to prepare. I keep going back to that, Scott. More than 2 fucking weeks. You have me wait up
till a 9 o'clock fucking start on a goddamn Monday fucking night. And this is why I hate primetime games so much, because I have to wait around. And now, thanks to ESPN, who we'll talk about later, I got to wait till 9 o'clock at night just to watch my team shit the fucking bed.
So what I'll say in the defensive side, I think that was Derek Stingley's worst game as a Texan. Absolutely. I mean, he was on Jackson Smith and Jibba for most of the night. That first series, I don't think it was the first series. It was the second series where the tight end just blows right by him because he bites on a play fake. Yeah, he had an interception late. Yeah, Laster had an interception late. But I think the only saving grace is we don't know what DeMeco Ryans is thinking. I think DeMeco Ryans has always tried to put a positive spin on everything. We don't know if he's done with Nick Caley. But see, my issue is that if you're mentally done with somebody, it is the cruelest thing in the world to leave them hanging on. That's the cruelest thing you can do. I remember like a couple of times where my contract was not renewed at schools, and they make those decisions in March. And they're saying you're going to stick around till the end of the school year. Those are a miserable 2 months, Tim. When you know I'm not working here next year, what in the fuck am I doing? I got to keep coming to work. To me, if Nick Caley, if you're done with him after the year, then be done with them now. Why are you going to make him come to work for another 11 weeks? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't disagree with you at all. It's just, unfortunately, like I said, you don't have anybody else really, I feel like, on this staff that you can turn to. And if you listen to Texans Facebook or Texans Reddit or whatever internet gathering you want to look into, they're salivating for Mike McDaniel's firing, hoping that that's going to be the answer. That's a fucking broken man. Like, are you really betting on Mike McDaniel's coming in to save your season when he literally is just melting down in the Miami Heat? We are literally watching the destruction of a human being on a week-to-week basis, and that's who you think's going to come in mid-season and save things? I think the only person outside of the organization that you could bring in to try and call plays for you is Gary Kubiak. I think even if you handed him the current playbook, he could say, okay, I'll call plays for this playbook. He's that smart of an offensive mind, at least from just calling plays on a rhythm of a game. But you and I both know that call's not happening.
No, and the problem is that those people who want to hire a fired head coach, those moves don't happen in the middle of the season. Have you ever seen a fired head coach?
Salah got hired as the consultant last year, right? So everybody thinks that that's the way to go.
And so, but he's not the offensive. He wasn't a defensive coordinator. He was a consultant. So to me, and if you want to look, and I think there is a huge opportunity to look at the fired head coaching market. McDaniel wouldn't be my guy. My guy would be Kevin Stefanski, because I think he's going to get shit canned.
I want no part of that.
But running an offense, you've got Brian Daboll. You've got Nagy is I think the official offensive coordinator in Kansas City, so that would be a lateral move. If you want to interview McDaniel after the season, but to me, you're right. I mean, to me, he's a guy that needs a couple of months on the beach. Just kind of, let everything.
I don't even think a beach. I think a private island. I think somewhere no one can find him. He needs to rehab. First of all, that guy is. I think he's living the Tony Montana life a little bit too hard down in Miami.
We've seen it happen, right? And we've seen guys get rehabilitated because, I mean, you're looking at Kingsbury. Kingsbury, I mean, at the end in Arizona, that was dead man walking. He comes to Washington at least last year. That's a great offense. So
I got a name for you. I'm going to give you a little intriguer. Okay. Let me first ask you a question. Who do you think runs the football and has the best offensive line in football?
Well, the Eagles do.
Okay.
They're the best running team anyway.
Jeff Stoutland is the run game coordinator / offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Does he call plays though?
I don't give a fuck at this point. Like, I just want a cohesive offense. Like, if you, I don't want Brian Dable. He's gonna run your quarterback into the ground. Like, he got lucky with Josh Allen and parlayed that into shit with the New York Giants. He's gonna get Jackson Dart killed. He's gonna get that fucking kid killed. And it's entertaining with Scatterbo and Jackson Dart and watch the two frat bros have a great time. But that's not good offense. That's just like that's Bill O'Brien shit. What's the difference between what he's asking Jackson Dart to do and what Bill O'Brien did with Deshaun Watson in the fourth quarter? Like, hey, go save me.
Yeah, I can see that point. But I think if you hire another first-time play caller and it fails, your ass is getting run out of town.
He's getting run out of town this season anyway.
I'm talking about I'm talking about D'Amico and Nick Caserio.
I think Casario's getting run out of town. I have to think that this is the tipping point because let's look at outside of the two given picks that you were just given of CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, which were like, and you and I could have run to the podium and made those picks, right?
Yeah.
What have you done for me there? What have you done for me in the draft, Nick? What have you done for me in free agency? What have you done to make this team better from any of the acquisitions that you make? What have you done from a structuring of contract standpoint? Oh, you're shit in all of those areas. You're shit in the hires that you make. You're shit in your scouting department. I want to go hire the assistant general manager from the Eagles, hire the Eagles offensive line / running game coordinator. And if we're going to mimic a fucking franchise, how about we mimic the one that just churns out offensive line prospects like it's nothing, instead of the Patriots, who had one good head coach and everybody who left that coaching tree has failed miserably outside of maybe Mike Vrabel, who I don't know if you could really call him part of that coaching tree because he was just a player, but like realistically, outside of Vrabel, if you consider that, but again, he came from like Ohio State and then worked his way in different areas. The Belichick tree is awful. So please do enlighten me why we continue to hire from it when maybe the Eagles tree would be who we should be picking from.
Well, not only the Patriots coaching tree, but the John Carroll University. I mean, the mega football factory that is John Carroll University.
They must have a hell of an analytics department. They're all like fucking mathematicians.
I like the Eagles. I think that Shanahan McVay tree is still, to me, at least for offense, really good. But my thing is that after the season, if you haven't called an offensive play, don't even fucking apply. Don't apply. So I want to hear from people who have been offensive coordinators. I mean, even if you wanted to interview freaking Eric Bieniemy, I wouldn't want to hire him, but it would make more sense from a standpoint of a guy that's actually called plays. I mean, to me, it's.
I just don't think you're really limiting yourself in that scenario.
No,
you're limiting yourself because, like, if you're a good play caller, you rose to head coach, right? Or you're in a position where you're in. Like, no one's going to make a lateral move to the Texans, at least at an NFL level. Maybe it's time that the Texans look at the college level. If you've called plays in college, maybe that's what we need. Some more creativity. Maybe you need to go with a Big Ten school. Maybe you need to pull somebody out of Ohio State, like a Brian Hartline, who's the offensive coordinator there right now.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because you know who the offensive coordinator is of the Bills? It was Joe Brady. Do you know where he made his bones?
I know it was in college. I can't remember where, though.
He was the offensive coordinator when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all those guys were dominating college football. Now, granted, that is more – I mean, they had because they had Justin Jefferson there as well. Those might be the two best wide receivers in the NFL right now. Yeah. So, I mean that's a ton of talent. But, again, it's somebody who has called plays. Because to me, my problem is And I'd have to go back and watch that LSU team, but you're not going to go through a season without having some adversity, even with a group of talent. So to me, my problem is with Nick Caley is Seattle punched you in the mouth. You came in with a plan, whether it was a shitty plan, a good plan, I don't care. You came in with a plan. That plan obviously did not work. We saw the same thing with Bobby Slowick. He would come in with a plan, sometimes a good plan, sometimes a bad plan, but they would stop you. What's next? What do you have to counter with? We talk about it in other sports. We talk about it in baseball with guys like Cam Smith. Okay, the pitchers are pitching you differently. They figured something out. How are you going to adjust? If you're a pitcher and they're hitting your slider, what do you do next? How do you counter that? I mean, it happens in every damn sport. Okay, you have to have a plan B. You have to sit there and be able, okay, they're doing this to us. Okay, if you got a pass rush that's, beating the shit out of your offensive line, run a fucking screen. I mean, they do this at the junior high level. I mean, this isn't hard.
No, everybody was calling for it. Everybody and their mother was calling for it. The broadcast was calling for it. Every fan who's watching is calling for it. CJ Stroud's mom sitting at home is probably screaming, call a fucking screen pass. And not once did it ever cross that man's mind to be like, what play I should dial up right here would be a little halfback screen. It'd be wide open. Nah, we're going to go dive over left guard again. I think that's the one.
Well,
they'll never see it coming. They're expecting me to call a screen. So what I'll do is I'll fool them again by going back to the dive over left guard.
And this is what kills me is that we were told before the season, okay, we're going to go with the strengths of this team. So I want you to tell me, Tim, if you're looking at our offensive line, who is the worst fucking blocker on our offensive line?
Probably the guards.
And
guard play is terrible.
Left guard. And left guard has been the hole in our offensive line for 3 fucking years. And we tried 3, 4, 5 guys. Now, I don't know. You were running off Nick Caserio things. I think that you're a little harder on Nick Caserio than I would be. But you definitely, when talking about the offensive line, you can't say anything really good about what he's done with the offensive line. I can point to, hey, he's done a great job putting a secondary together. I could point to, yeah, they've done a great job putting a defense together. I could sit there, you could look at the draft, and I think Tank Dell was still a fantastic draft pick, even though he got hurt. I think Dalton Schultz was the contract given to him was stupid, but I think as a tight end, he did fine last night. I mean, to me, every time they dialed him up in the flat, he was there and gaining like 10, 15 yards a pop. Why can't you dial that up on 3rd and 1? I mean, it was working all night long.
I would rather 9 catches, man. He had 9 fucking catches. It was wide open all night.
I'd rather you run to the podium and sit there and say, hey, that Dalton Schultz play was working all night, and then they made an adjustment and they beat us on that play. I would rather you do that. Well, he can't seem to get any yardage on the ground. Let's run it again. I'll never see it coming.
We're literally at the point these guys outsmart themselves. Like, they're going to assume that I go play action because I haven't gained anything on the ground. So what we should really do is run it back on the ground again because they're thinking I'm thinking play action. So I'm going to outsmart what they're thinking that I'm thinking. So we're going to run it. Like, you ran that same play for probably a loss of 9 collective yards on 4 carries. Like, you did not move them. And it's eerily similar, Scott, to the Bill O'Brien offense of old, right? Like, run it up the middle for 3 quarters and then hope that Deshaun Watson can save you in the 4th quarter. What did the Texans do? Like, they ran the ball up the middle. They made stupid plays and hoped in the second half that CJ could do just enough to try and pull that game out and win one that they should have blown him out. Like that is classic Bill O'Brien football. It's classic Tim Kelly offensive coordinator shit. We've seen this show before. We know how this show ends. It ends up with your quarterback wanting out of town because now at the end of the season, we're all assuming, and I think rightfully so, going into 2026, you will have a new offensive coordinator. That is 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years for CJ Stroud, Scott. You've seen no progression as a quarterback because he's never had any time to throw the fucking football. And you've got a decision to make on an extension or a fifth-year option, whatever you wanted to do, with a guy that's now having his third offensive coordinator. And, does he want to play through that? Or does he say, you know what? Can I please go somewhere else?
Well, and I have the team that I think would be a perfect fit for him. That's probably waiting for that to happen. I think
Cleveland?
the Los Angeles Rams would be. I think Matthew Stafford probably hangs it up, and I think Sean McVay salivates over having a young kid with those skills that he can coach up. But and my thing is, if you're his agent, David Mulligetta, I don't know that I would even negotiate off this season. And this is the point that I'm going to have to give a hat tip to a preliminary hat tip to Cody Stutes, who we've had on our show. He called it what's going on with Stroud right now, 11th dimensional chess from Nick Casario, where we're going to suppress his numbers to such a degree that he can't get the $60 million extension. So you're only going to get a $40 million extension. Oh, we used a mind fuck on you. Of course, we also ruined you as a quarterback, but don't have to worry about it.
I mean, we've seen this show before. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars ruined Trevor Lawrence. Like I thought coming out of college, that guy was a can't miss prospect. And you saddle him with Urban Meyer his first year. Then he gets, Peterson. And now here he is with a new offensive coordinator. And he had different offensive coordinators with Peterson too as a head coach. So, I mean, you absolutely can ruin young quarterbacks. We saw what happened with Zach Darnold. His renaissance was because he finally got an offensive coordinator who knew how to game plan around the team that he had and put his quarterback in position to make plays in Minnesota last year with McCarthy, who was not McCarthy, but is it McDaniel or whatever the
okay. I know where you're going. I can't
the
think
Minnesota head coach. It's
O'Connell.
Thank you. Minnesota O'Connell does a good job as a former offensive coordinator of giving his quarterback a chance to make plays. Then you go to Seattle, another situation with a great offensive line, 2 good running backs, good receivers, offensive-based head coach who knows how to put you in a position to win. Here we go. Sam Darnold looks like a legitimate NFL quarterback again. Situation means everything. You drafted a quarterback and you paired him with a rookie offensive coordinator who apparently didn't mesh with him. 2 wasted years there. Then you bring in a new offensive coordinator who clearly does not mesh with him. Wasted year number 3. Well, this is how you end up in cycles like the New York fucking Jets. Do you want to be the New York Jets? The answer should automatically be a no.
Well,
they suck.
Well, and so the question is really for the Texans is, do you just grin and bear it and go through the year and then make a clean break? Or do you roll the dice now? Because part of that question isn't something I asked you in text. Okay, so this team will need to go 8-3 in the remaining 11 games in order to win 10 games, which last year is what you needed to get into the playoffs. There were no 9-win playoff teams. So knowing, and we're going with the 49ers next week.
I can see us winning that game somehow, being dumb and winning that game.
Broncos the week after that.
They can be beat.
Then you got who do they have? I know they have
2 against the Colts.
They have the Chiefs.
That's an L.
They've got the and they got the Titans and then the Bills. I think in the next 5 weeks.
I mean, the Bills don't look unbeatable, but again, it doesn't matter because we can't score. Yeah. We can't score the football. You had 4 goal to go situations where you walked away with 0 points. You kick a field goal every time, you win that game.
You have the Chargers coming up. You've got 2 games against the Colts. I don't see us beating the Colts the way we're playing right now.
No, Daniel Jones.
I could see us beating the Jaguars at home.
Oh, by the way, Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator for the Eagles, doing wonderful things up there in Indianapolis with a real quarterback.
I could see us. We're going to beat the Titans again, and if we don't beat the Titans, then the season's over anyway. I could see us. We're going to beat the Raiders. I'm pretty sure, and I think we'll beat the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are enough of a mess that we can, So the question is, do you see 4 other wins?
I could see us beating the Niners.
Okay, that's one.
Because it's going to be Mac Jones, and I think you can hit him. And he's beat up already. Titans.
No, that's one of the ones I already gave us.
Okay. I could see us beating the Bills. Their defense isn't world beaters.
So do you see us possibly splitting with the Colts?
Yes.
Okay, there's 3.
Denver, I could see it. I mean, Denver got shut down by the Jets defense in whatever foreign European country they played in.
I'll give you Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. Do you see us winning any of those games?
Broncos.
There's 4 wins. So you can get to 10 wins. So if you feel like you can get to 10 wins, are you going to get there with this offense playing the way it is right now?
No. So that's the caveat, Scott, is you have to have a playable offense to get those wins that I mentioned.
And here's the point I think you were dancing around earlier. Okay. Jalen Noel was, I think, the best receiver on the field on Monday night. Would you agree?
Yes.
I mean, not including Dalton Schultz, who was a tight end. He only played in 31% of the snaps, offensive snaps. Why? Why do we see Braxton Berrios getting a majority of the snaps? That doesn't make any sense. We saw Jaden Higgins get out there, but he was about worth as much as, I don't know, putting a pig in a dress, I guess. But then you got you mentioned Dare Ogunbowale. To me, I think I've got a job for Dameon Pierce. I'm going to get one other linebacker that doesn't play. And here's your job on game day, Dameon, and Christian Harris. You 2 guys, I'm going to give you a job. Every time there's an offensive series, you are standing next to Dare Ogunbowale, and every time he gets up off the bench, you shove his ass back on the bench. That's your job on Sunday. Because I saw there was one play, you talk about missing a block. He doesn't even know who to block. He sits there and double blocks a lineman when you have a safety blitz and safety's just running completely, untouched and sacked. It's like, what are we doing?
No, I agree completely.
So to me, if you put in a Gerard Johnson, okay, he's a first-time play caller. But to me, this is where D'Amico Ryans has to step in and say, like, you know what? We motherfucking drafted these wide receivers early. Put them on the damn field, especially when Christian Kirk's not playing. When Christian Kirk's not playing, there is no reason Jalen Noel should not be on every single offensive snap. Every single damn one of them. Because he's your second best wide receiver right now when Christian Kirk is not playing. And Dare Ogunbowale should not be in an offensive snap at all. Woody Marks has proven that he's a better blocker. He's a better receiver. He's a better runner. Tell me what else running backs are supposed to do, Tim.
No, I completely agree with you. Like, the only caveat, I think maybe Chubb is hurt.
He Marks blew one assignment. There was that one play where, CJ tried to hand off to him and Marks wasn't there. So he obviously, there was a miscommunication there. There was a miscommunication there. It happens. But that was one play. And if you do just 2 things, if you change your personnel and then you don't do stupid shit like running it in the middle of the line on 3rd and 4th and 1 and, and at the goal to go when because it's not even just a running play. It's a slow developing running play. Because if you were going through that mental gymnastics you were going with earlier of well, they think I'm going to play action, so I'm going to run because they think I'm play actioning. Run a quick run. That will get them. That will catch them by surprise. Don't do this. Well, we're going to hand it to the running back 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and we'll give the defense time to adjust to. Oh shit, they're actually going to run this play. Thank you. You know, if you're, that's why the quarterback sneak is so effective. Is that it's quick.
No, for sure. It's insane. Like they literally said, "Don't do this," and you did it. Like it's just.
Yeah, but you do those two things. If you do those two things with this offense, if you change the personnel to put your best personnel on the field, like who's that? Watson. Watson shouldn't be on the field, not as a wide receiver. Limited Xavier Hutchinson, very limited Xavier Hutchinson. To me, it should be Higgins and Knoll and Collins. Those should be your 3 wide receivers. If you have Christian Kirk, now you have 4 guys. None of the other wide receivers should be on the field unless there's an injury.
And unfortunately, there was an injury. Collins gets hurt in that game, and then even then, still, like we don't go to those guys, right? Like you're still running out people that are ineffective. We're still running out Xavier Hutchinson. We're still running out not guys that you drafted and guys that you set a precedent with by guaranteeing a 5th year for a 2nd round pick who still doesn't see the field.
Yeah, so to me, if you go to Gerard Johnson, and he does just basic personnel changes and takes the exact same offense, you think we average maybe 5 or 6 more points a game?
Probably. I mean, all you got to do is knock one of those 4 opportunities in.
And to me, if you're scoring between 20 and 25 points a game with this defense, you're going to win most games.
I tend to agree with that statement. All right, Scott, let's change gears. Because a game that I think most times you win last night, the Rockets somehow found a way to lose. You mentioned the free throw shooting. You're going against the defending champs. You're in their building. But either way, an opening night triple overtime thriller goes the way of the Oklahoma City Thunder. What you and I were texting in the final overtime, but what are your just quick initial thoughts?
All right. So first of all, I'm going to sit there and say that I think it was a very good effort. I think overall, this offense looks much better than when we had Jalen Green. Kevin Durant, one of the things I like about Kevin Durant is very underrated. So you see how many shots he had?
I didn't know.
It was like 14 shots, and he's scoring 23 points, and he was 0 for 4 from 3. So to me, he is a very efficient scorer. He is not like your typical superstar where I need 30 shots to get my 30 points. So I like what he brings to this team. He had a good first game from him. He only had 2 baskets after the start of the 4th quarter. That's problematic. He needs to be a lot more involved in the offense. I think this team definitely needs a point guard. I think that last night showed that. Amen Thompson, actually, I told you he found out he actually had cramps. That's why he left the game. And so you had Reed Shepherd in there, and Reed Shepherd is not a point guard.
A little bit too much Reed, quite frankly. A little bit too much.
I would have maybe liked to see Aaron Holiday more than Reed Shepherd in that moment. But I think as a baseline, you mentioned at the last part of it that they did not get a contract for Tari Eason. I think Tari Eason gets dealt before the end of the year. I think that happens. Would you package Tari Eason and Reed Shepherd for a solid veteran point guard?
In a heartbeat.
And I think that's where it's at. I think that other teams would be interested in Shepherd. Because, when you look at it, what do you think when you get a guy 3rd overall? Like, what's the quality of the team that guy's going to?
It's a lottery team, right? A team that has a crap ton of losses. The ping pong ball didn't quite bounce their way, but they got the third pick. Not a team that was the number 2 overall seed, or not at that point. They were a team that was a chance to be a top seed, and you don't get a chance to play.
We were the best team not in the playoffs. It was the first time that you saw a 500 team not get into play-in. So if Reed Shepherd goes to a 20-25 win team, I think he's probably a good NBA player by now, because he'd be getting a solid 30 to 35 minutes a night. He'd be taking as many damn shots as he wants, and he'd probably be a good volume scorer. He would be one of those guys. I don't know. Do you remember Mike James?
Yeah.
Guy averaged 20 points a game because our team sucked, because somebody had to average 20 points a game. That's Reed Shepherd. That's who Reed Shepherd is. He's a guy that would average between 15 and 20 points a game for a bad team. Because you looked at that last preseason game, he scores 29 points because nobody's playing their guys. So we're playing against backups. He's that kind of guy. And so it's not that Reed Shepherd wasn't third best player in the draft. It's that he wasn't a good fit for what they needed. They needed somebody who actually had point guard skills. And we've talked about that.
We got to that point in the game, Scott, where we needed exactly what we talked about before, a legitimate point guard who could run a half-court offense and get guys a good look. And if asked, knock down an open three. Reed Shepherd made bad decisions with the ball, couldn't get the ball on just a pass to Kevin Durant, couldn't knock down open looks, and was bad on defense. Like, I get that injuries happen, yada, 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 but he gave away a possession that was crucial in a triple overtime. Just gave away a possession, and just took too many shots. Like, I think he had 3 shots in the third overtime, 3 looks, and the broadcast team is like, he's about to hit a big one here, folks. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, what gives you the indication that any of these are about to fall?
And I turned the game on late, so his streak of not scoring while I'm watching, it's intact.
Same.
It's intact. But I say on the positive end, and we saw this at the beginning of last year, and I think one of the things I think that is fantastic about Durant, Sengun has taken this game to another level. He absolutely has. And he got off to a hot start last year, if you remember. But the problem is that you have, Jalen Green is one of those volume scorers who needs like 20 shots and then you had, of course, Dylan Brooks, who thought he was a scorer and wasn't.
He thought he was the best offensive threat we had.
And so, to me, here you have a guy like Durant who can score you 20-plus points a game in 15 shots. So, to me, that's only going to give the ball to Sengun's hands more often. So you have guys that can play off of that. You've got, assuming he's healthy, Amen can play off of that. I think that Jabari should be able to knock down open looks. So I like where this team is going in general. And to me, the idea of a veteran point guard, that's just a minor tweak. I still think this is a 50-plus win team because Oklahoma City is the best team in the NBA. Clearly. I mean, they're defending champs, but not only the defending champs, they were defending champs going away. So, and they got better in the offseason. So, when we're going up against a 60-plus win team, when you have a chance to win that game in regulation, you have a chance to win that game in overtime. I hate to go with a moral victory, but it's a good game.
I'm not pissed about it. There are a lot of things you could take from it. I think Kevin Durant's defense was absolutely phenomenal last night when he was the on-ball defender. They were 1 of 14 against Kevin Durant. Yes, he did unfortunately have the foul at the end there. That was not a great play, but I mean overall, Kevin Durant's defense on the night was great. when you go to 3 overtimes and you gave up what, like 120 points, like defensive effort was strong throughout the night. You mentioned Sengun. I think several times, especially late in the game, he had shorter defenders on him. When that was the case, he attacked the fucking basket. He didn't hesitate. You want to bring a Alex Caruso to come guard me in the paint? Awesome. Let's go to work. And I love that attitude, right? When you've got a skilled big man like Alpi who recognizes the mismatch and gets the ball and goes to work, that's just going to make Durant better, right? Like there are nights where maybe Alpi doesn't have it and Durant does have to put up 25, 30 shots and we win those games. That's great. But you're absolutely right. He can be a very efficient scorer and let Sengun go to work and wear down defenses and spin and dance and do his thing down there. And hopefully that's not too hard of a job as a point guard to just get a fucking bounce pass into the paint.
Yeah, and I think also when they put Adams in the starting lineup, I think that puts the Clint Capella addition in a different light.
Yes.
Because he's now the first big off the bench. When you thought Adams was the first big off the bench, the Clint Capella addition was like, I don't know. But if Adams is going to get starts, because he still can't play back-to-backs. So you can start Capella. He's been a starting center in the league. So you could easily start him and keep that same big lineup concept going.
No, absolutely. I figured he was going to play a lot of the two big lineup, and that's why Capella was brought in. I figured that. I think the interesting thought was getting someone at Capella's level and maybe not more of like an Isaiah Hartenstein, or maybe those guys are just about the same price nowadays. I don't know. But I don't know. It looks fine now, at least at this point. I do think Reed Shepard's not what you need. It is just one game. I get it. But he is not the steady hand that this team needed in the fourth quarter and overtime. When you needed someone to just calm things down and make sure you got a good shot offensively, Reed isn't that guy. And what is the point of having Aaron Holiday on this team, right? Like, why he's a veteran. Why do we not bring him in late in the game to run that situation? Why is Reed Shepard getting those minutes?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tom. I have no idea the answer to that one.
All right, Scott, let's give some awards away because I think we've beat one game. We beat a dead horse out of one game. We'll have more to come. It's exciting to have it back, but we'll talk more about all of it throughout the season and probably tonight too. But Scott, we've got some awards to give away. Who do you have for your pal right in the kisser?
Well, I think you mentioned it earlier. I was really, like you, very disappointed in D'Amico Ryan's reaction to Monday night's loss. To me, you don't have to throw your offensive coordinator under the bus. You don't have to. What you can say is that we were embarrassed by that effort, because you should be embarrassed by that effort. And saying you're embarrassed by the effort doesn't put the onus on any particular individual. I mean, you could sit there, we could interpret that any way we want to. We could sit there and say, well, he's embarrassed by CJ Stroud. He's embarrassed by the offensive line. He's embarrassed. But to sit there and say, oh, we're one score away. No, you weren't. You were down 8 because the referees, for whatever reason, decided to deny the Seattle Seahawks 2 safeties. Have you ever seen a football game with 2 safeties, Tim?
No, I was watching. I got a little bit late into that game because I fell asleep on the couch watching the first Monday night game. And like they're showing just the highlight of the package halfway through the first quarter, or whatever. And like I see CJ clearly tackled in the end zone, and then we're up like I'm looking at the score, and I'm like trying to do the math of like, did they go for 2 and miss it, and then go for 2 again and miss? Like, how did they get to 14 when there was a safety involved? And then you realize they just missed the safety.
And then they missed it again in the second half. Or not the second half, in the second quarter. So not only is it 2 safeties in a game, it would have been 2 safeties and a half. I mean, that's just so to me, there are moments where, as a head coach, and I've had those moments, where you got to read them to riot act. And when they put a microphone in your face You got to sit there and you got to say, I mean, because one of the most memorable meltdowns in history, like when you think of coach meltdowns in the media, like what's the first one that comes to mind?
There's two. First was playoffs. Talk about playoffs right now. We're in a fucking game. We're talking about playoffs. And the second was Allen Iverson practice. Talk about motherfucking practice right now. I'm trying to go to a game, and you're out here talking about practice.
Well, my favorite coaching meltdown is I'm a man. I'm 40, which he is now in his mid-50s, not quite ready for Social Security yet, but I guess he's got that good golden parachute from Oklahoma State, so that's okay. But
yeah, because he refused to retire and said, "Fire me, motherfuckers! You can keep paying me."
Or Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. We need a emotional meltdown from D'Amico Ryans, and he doesn't have to say, "I'm sorry, my offensive coordinator sucks." He doesn't have to tell us that. He doesn't have to tell us that I need more from my quarterback. He doesn't have to throw specific guys under the bus. But to me, to sit there and say, "Well, we were close. It was almost," no, you weren't. Anybody watching that football game knows you were not close to winning that football game. And to me, you have a great stat here, Tim. If you are +3 on the turnover ratio, do you know what your percentage chance of winning the game is?
It's got to be like 98%.
You're close. It's actually a little lower. It's only 93%.
Okay.
We have done this 3 times in the last 23 games.
The Lions,
the Packers last year, and the Seahawks. Those games were at least you had a lead in the Lions game and you frittered it away. You were in the Packers game until the end and you lost it. This game, I would sit there and say you were never really close to winning that football game. And you were +3 on the turnover ratio. That's where you have to sit there and say, to me, you almost have to go Leon and say, my defense needs help. We can't just keep carrying this team. My defense, they need
for real though. Maybe that's like what CJ Gardner Johnson said. Like maybe like really what the issue in the locker room was is like he called out some offensive people. It was like, we're fucking balling over here and y'all suck. And if that's the case, like whatever, he's gone. But someone needed to say it. And if it hasn't been said, someone needs to say it. Danielle Hunter or Will Anderson needs to walk into Nick Caley's office. Maybe they do it together, kind of like a Bash Brothers, Mark McGuire, Canseco thing, all ripped up, fucking fresh after practice, glistening in sweat. You motherfucker! I want you to get your shit together. Maybe one of them, like for Halloween, is dressed like Mr. T from the A-Team, kind of Barabbas to scare him a little bit more. But either way, just like get your motherfucking. Oh, here's what they do. One of them's dressed as Mr. T from the A-Team, and the other one's dressed as Mr. T as Clubber Lang. And they go into the office as the two scariest Mr. T characters they could be, and try and intimidate Nick Caley into calling better plays.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool who can't fucking run a play action.
I pity the fool who runs the ball to the line 4 times.
I pity the fool who wastes my sack, fumble, touchdown in the end zone.
All right,
Paul Creed, I want you to call better fucking plays.
All right, Tim, who you got?
I'd like to punch the ESPN executives that felt that we need 2 Monday night football games, one of which starting at 9:00 at fucking night. What are we doing? Like, what? I get the almighty dollar is just so goddamn tasty, and we want to suckle at capitalism's teat, and we can sell just some extra really expensive ads if we have 2 Monday night games instead of just 1. But why the fuck should I be up till 1:00 in the goddamn morning watching a football game on a Monday night and then be so pissed off about that football game when it ends that I don't get to bed till like 2:00 in the morning because I just was so just sick and frustrated with that performance that I could not just turn it off and go to bed. Like, no, that's not how that happens. So if I could walk down to the Disney office, and I wish it was like in South Park where it's really like Mickey Mouse, who's like sitting there like an evil Mickey, just like counting his money, and you can like punch Mickey in the face. But like, who the fuck here is talking about shit about late night football? Whatever, I can't do it. I'm sorry. But either way, it'd be great to like walk in and it's like legit like a cartoon Mickey Mouse of like, ha ha, got your money. But like that's literally how it feels. It's just such a fucking cash grab. And it's so obvious. You've got like your B tier broadcasting team, Louis Riddick and Dan Orlovsky are out there doing like not a bad job. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think you send those guys out on many calls and you advertise that this is the Monday Night Football crew and all this other shit. Oh, unless you're this game. Your Monday night game's just not quite as valuable as the rest of the Monday night games. So you're starting at 9 o'clock come on, man. Like this is such a slap in the face. We've done Monday Night Football the same way for years. If you're a West Coast team and you're hosting a Monday night game, hey, it starts a little earlier over there. That's the way it's always happened. We don't need 2 Monday night games on a fucking Monday night.
Well, and can we put a little thought together? At least a couple of members of the masthead at Battle Red Blog are on the East Coast. So that's a 10 o'clock game for them, Tim. They're staying up until 2 in the morning, for their time, actually watching the game. Can you imagine if, and I think Sean Pendergast took the day off the next day on 610 because he does the post-game show. So like, can you imagine? I'm just fucking sleeping in the studio. I'm not even going home. What are you going to do with that? It's just, and they,
no. So who's the other one? Pendergast works with
Seth
the
Payne.
offensive lineman, Seth Payne, right? So he literally said, like, I finished watching that game. I got 2 hours of sleep, and then I had to go to work and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't want to talk about it, right? You don't want to talk about that shit. It's the last one of the year. And to me, it kills me. I'm not going to nominate them this week, but I see all the ads. We're playing in Madrid. We're playing in this country. We're playing in that country. And, we're seeing, the Jaguars, who seems like their second home is in England because they can't fill their own damn stadium. I'm tired of watching the Jaguars. They suck. They're 4-3 and they still suck. I'm tired of watching the Jets. I know the Jets suck, and that's why you want them in Europe because you don't want them to have an actual home game because, who gives a shit in New York? But why am I going to turn on, 8:30 in the morning to watch the Jets? Why?
But also, like, at the same time, Scott, if I'm trying to convince the world that this is an awesome game, that everyone should be playing this, this is the game, this is the one, and you keep sending over the fucking Jets and the Jaguars, and you wonder why it's not catching on. Hello, you are literally like when European teams come over to America for these showcases, like they're sending Real Madrid and Barcelona and Manchester. They're not sending Stoke City. They're not sending like guys who are getting fucking relegated. No, they send the best of the best. We sent over a 9-7 game with like 3 field goals and a defensive touchdown between the Jets and the Broncos as one of the London games. It was just like, here you go, Europe. Enjoy our fucking slop. Like, how? In what way does that encourage any European fan to be like, this is a beautiful game? I cannot believe I was so fortunate to win tickets at the radio station. I didn't even think I'd like American football, but after watching 4 hours of -1 runs over and over and over again, I get it. I get why people love this.
All right, Tim. We moving on to the horse's ass. Is that our next move here?
It is. Who do you have for us this week?
All right. I'm going with the original intent of the award, and I am going to go with the topic of the night, and that's Nick Caley. And to me, I've been Nick Caley before, Tim. You know how many games my team won at Ball High in a season? Out of about 30 games. Yeah, nope. You shorted me. We won 2, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
We won
cut
2.
your win total in half.
And my favorite story on that game, my season, was the basketball coach. He wanted us to like do research and to like put banners up for district championships that we may have won in the 70s or 80s. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to help you out there. I've been watching 24/5A volleyball since the mid 80s. Ball High has never won a district match in all that time. I was miserable, Tim. I was miserable. Now, they've now since gone to like 3 or 4A because a bunch of people left the island. So they might be winning some volleyball games now that they're not playing Lake, Creek, and Brook, and getting their doors blown off. But, it was the most miserable experience that I'd ever had. So I know where Nick Cayley's coming from. He doesn't have any answers. And if I was in his shoes, I could sit there and I can talk a great game, say like, this is what I would do. But if I was sitting where he's at, I don't know that I would do any better. And I would probably be miserable. So he's miserable. The players are miserable. The fans are miserable. So in the honor and the spirit of the Horse's Ass Award, let's just cut this and move on.
No, absolutely. And I have also been in a similar situation. I went to school for broadcasting. My dream was to be the voice of a professional baseball team. When I finally got my chance to be the guy, it's my team. We bring in the roster of the WBC for China to help them become eligible or, just better at baseball to try and qualify for the Olympics. We then go on to set a record for the worst winning percentage in the history of professional baseball at 25%, Scott. That was a miserable season. I almost fell asleep on air at one point during a walk fest we had. So I kid you not, we had a night game in Sioux Falls. We fucking busted home to Cleburne. We get back at like 5 o'clock. Game starts at 7. We need a pitcher. We sign a local guy who I'm told is a knuckleballer. During the tryout, this thing was really dancing. Could be something special. I'm like, okay, fuck, all right. It'd be cool watching knuckleballer. Well, like 6 straight walks later, it's not dancing that night. He ends up walking like 9 batters, hits a guy, gives up a homer. I'm like nodding off on air because I got like no sleep. And then like we got emails sent to the commissioner of the league about us because we got accused of just like signing guys from rec leagues because this guy was so bad. That, like, yeah, I've been there. And sometimes you just want the fucking season to end, even if you're not even on the coaching staff. You thought you achieved your dream, and your dream was shattered by Min Wing Wong, who was not the Chinese Otani as he was projected to be. In case anybody was wondering, he hit a $180 in the American Association with no homers at all. So not exactly the Chinese Otani. But yeah, I get it. It's a long season, and it would be a mercy killing at this point. But still, he got to go.
Yeah. I was thinking of, Bull Durham was like 18 walks, new league record, 18 strikeouts, also a new league record.
Yeah, also a league record.
He also hit the sports writer, the public address announcer, and the mascot 3 times. All league records.
A banner night all around.
All right.
The next season, when they won their 26th game the next year, which meant they were going to have just a slightly. We ended up like 28-72 the next year. They fucking popped champagne when they hit 26 because they thought they won the World Series because they were going to be better than they were the year before.
All right, Tim.
I am going to pick the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Scott. I don't know if they're still of Anaheim, but it'll always be Burma to me. You had a chance to hire an elite baseball mind, a guy who I think had as a mechanically sound approach at the plate as we've ever seen. Someone who like defensively played multiple positions, someone who's got managerial experience on the Dominican Winter League side of things, is the manager of the Dominican Republic team for the WBC. And that's Albert Pujols. And instead, you decide to go with Kurt Suzuki as your manager. Now, I understand former catcher, has a history with the organization, might have had a great interview. Either way, both guys are going to be first time managers. So you're going to tell me that Albert Pujols' interview was that bad that you think Kurt Suzuki's going to be a better? You're going to tell me that all these young Latin American baseball players who grew up watching Albert Pujols, probably as an idol, as a hero, as a guy from that area, are not going to respect him in the locker room? You're telling me he can't command the fucking room? What, like, he's put out that if it's not the Angels, I want to manage. So it's not like he pulled himself out of consideration. They made a decision to go with Kurt Suzuki over Albert Pujols. And you know what? We may come back a year from now and the Angels are, in the playoffs and I look like an idiot, but I don't think so. I personally think this is the Angels are going to angel and they continue to make the worst fucking decisions you can possibly make.
Well, you referenced this earlier, 1997, the Astros bring in Larry Dierker, and the kind of the fortunes of this franchise come around. Could you imagine them saying, like, we've hired a former Astro legend? No, it's not Dierker. It's Jim Pankovitz. I mean, now, I don't know. I mean, I don't know Jim Pankovitz personally. He was a utility guy, did a lot of watching baseball. So maybe he's a brilliant guy. He might have went on to do some coaching. But could you imagine what the mood of the city would have been at that point?
I mean, probably not great. I don't remember the mood of hiring Larry Dierker, right? Like I was pretty young when they made the call to hire him. I remember him as the manager. But I don't remember the mood, but I have to assume people are amped that the voice of the Astros who's talked on air about this team, about what he would do in situations, is now going to do those things.
And to me, if you're a perennial 70-win team, as the Angels are, I mean, that's who they are. They're winning between 70 and 75 games every year. They have enough good players to where they're not going to be flatten out and win 50 games. They don't have enough good pitching in order to get to 500. So what is, from a PR perspective, what's going to energize the fan base? Ooh, I remember Kurt Suzuki.
He was a stud.
He caught like 1,500 games, man. That guy, oh, man. Or with maybe the second best first baseman ever. Would that create a little bit more of a buzz?
Yeah, I want to make this clear. I don't mean to disparage Kurt Suzuki.
No, of course not.
He had a fine major league career, won a World Series against the Astros with the Nationals, was a part of that team. Guy had a very nice career. But I just find it very hard to believe that you can be asked to be taken seriously as a major league franchise and tell me that you think Kurt Suzuki is the better person to lead a ball club than Albert Pujols. Like, I don't like Albert Pujols, the player. He's broken my heart countless times, okay? But if you told me tomorrow that the Astros have hired Albert Pujols to be the hitting coach, I'm fucking ecstatic. And I'm calling Scott up and we're celebrating together because arguably the greatest right-handed hitter of our generation, a generational talent, is going to be teaching our next generation of players. That's exciting to me. What's not exciting to me is Kurt Suzuki. But how many Angels fans are there really, right? Like, if you're in LA at this point, are you just a Dodgers fan?
Yeah.
I got given Angels tickets by a friend, so I'm here today.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. All right, let's get out some hat tips, some good vibes. I hope I'm not stealing yours, but Alpi Sengun balled his heart out last night. Absolutely balled his heart out. He did miss one free throw in, I think it was overtime. That, the first overtime that could have made the difference, right? Because you ended up going to another overtime. One more free throw might have made the difference. But on a night where, what did he end up with? Was it 37 points?
It's either 37 or 39.
So
I think it was 37.
37 points, I think double-digit rebounds. I think he led the team in assists. So a Houston Rockets triple-double or a triple crown where you lead the team in, points. I don't think he led them in rebounds because I think Adams had more rebounds, but absolutely great effort. And, he is looking more and more like Jokic every year. And to me, if he becomes a young Jokic, that's, the sky's the limit for this basketball team.
No, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. Alpe's a phenomenal talent, but also, do you remember Dionis Montiunas?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they asked him about, like, when he first signed with us, because I don't know if you remember, it took forever to get him to finally, like, come play. There's, like, long contract stuff, and then they finally get him over here from Lithuania, and they ask him, like, are you, nervous to play in the NBA now? And he does like very Eastern Bloc accent. He's like, if you nervous of wolves, you don't come out from under the porch. And it was just like the best fucking answer ever, right? It was like, is this Ivan Drago? Like, what did we get here? But like, that's kind of like, Alpe's a fucking wolf, man. Like, he's a dog. Like, he is, number one, the most fly guy on this team. I don't know if you saw, but Jabari Smith's high school retired his number, and the whole team flew out to represent and be there. I took a team picture, and everybody in there is in like Crocs or like slides and sweatpants, and like literally look like they just got jumped from the gym and threw something on to come support. Alpe looks like he's headed to fucking Miami Beach. He's got like a shirt and short sleeve like button up combo that matches. He's got like the shoes. Like, this guy does not go out in public unless he is dressed to the nines. Like, he is just spews class. He spews just swag. And, you look good, you feel good, you play good, and it's showing through right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, I love the fact the Rockets backed the right horse, because to me, playoffs are nut crunching time, right? And he showed up in every damn game. There were some games where he didn't have his best game, but he showed up and he balled as best he could. Unlike some other guys that, might have pulled a disappearing act, but for all but one of the games in the series. Just saying.
Oh, absolutely. Scott, there's a lot of good in the sports world this week, but I am going to hat tip my Houston Cougars. 6-1, only one loss in the Big 12 to the billionaire bought Texas Tech Red Raiders. They don't always look pretty. The blowout against the Raiders was not pretty at all. But hey, we're right in the heart of this thing. Keep slugging away, keep playing good defense, keep running the football. You got a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over a ton in Wegman. Hey, we already are bowl eligible. Excited for the university, excited for the state of where the team is right now. It's only going to help recruiting. Couldn't be happier with the job that Willie Fritz is doing down on Cullen. And go Cougs, baby.
Okay, so little trivia here for you, Tim. So you know where Willie Frist was before he was at U of H, right?
He was at Tulane, your wife's alma mater.
Well, you saw what he did at Tulane. Do you know where he was before he was at Tulane?
I do not.
He was at Sam Houston State.
They were a powerhouse there.
They were a powerhouse. So this is
not anymore, by the way, in case you see what they're doing lately.
No, because he's gone. They're this guy can coach ball. And guys that can coach ball, they can coach it at any level. And
hey, does Willie Fritz call plays?
Well, but we have a good game between your alma mater and my alma mater, kind of, coming up down the slate and here in a few weeks. So that's going to be a good matchup. Obviously, TCU is looking for some revenge after last year's whatever the hell that was. But yeah, I'm a good hat.
That's what y'all get for having a drunk frat boy trying to attack me in the stands.
Well, I had a drunk Colorado frat boy that spilled beer on me, so I guess that's the revenge. The
That's
revenge.
just what y'all allow at that
Karma.
stadium. You just allow public drunkenness over there.
Yeah, that Christian school. But yeah, good hat tip there, Tim. Yeah, he's got that thing turned around.
All right, Scott. Let's get to the non-fun stuff. The calling out of the worst of the worst. Who do you have for us this week?
I've got the liar in chief, the press the press liar secretary, Caroline Levitt. So I'm sure you know which comments that I'm going to be referencing here, Tim. Do you want to take a guess?
Just go ahead.
So did you know that people who are Democrats are all Hamas, are all undocumented immigrants, and all domestic terrorists? Did you know that, Tim?
I did. I just learned it this week.
So now neither of us are a Democrat. However, we are leftist. So therefore, I guess, does that make us terrorist adjacent?
Oh, we're probably worse. We're like the leaders at that point.
And you got people, and she's just spreading all that stuff to sit there and talk about the fact that the 7 million people know that they were paid. I love this, Tim. I'm going to give you a little math question here, because I saw this meme that everybody who showed up to the No Kings rally was paid $200. So would you like to do the 7 million times 200 math?
1.4 billion.
Who's got 1.4 billion?
They think George Soros threw that money at people.
I love the fact that there's one liberal billionaire who's responsible for everything on the left. I love it.
You know who actually would pay for something like that? Like the Koch brothers. I guarantee you the Koch brothers, like back in the day, would work with the Dulles brothers to line it up so they could like make $200 per person. If anybody would do that, it would have been the Koch brothers.
Yeah, it's so, to me, at this point, the word I used in my last Substack article is I pity them, because I pity people who try to make a man love them who's incapable of love. And so she's going on television. She's clearly debasing herself, because nobody with half a functioning brain takes her seriously. But there she is. She's going out there and doing it because she thinks she's going to get some kind of admiration from a guy that is just incapable of it. He's not capable. And I don't know what, and to me, we all know how this is going to end. This is going to end badly. And anybody who's on that side, I mean, I see another Nuremberg coming. And that's what's coming for these folks. So, to me, all of your Caroline Levitts, your Stephen Millers. I mean, do you remember? Oh gosh, this was probably before you were paying attention. But do you remember the references to Baghdad Bob?
I don't think I do.
So Baghdad Bob was the Iraqi press secretary, basically, when Saddam was still alive.
Okay.
And he became the joke, because you could literally see shit being blown up behind him, and he's on camera. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. All is well. We're winning this thing. And he became, the butt of every joke. That's going to be Caroline Levitt. When I'm sure the Einstein list is going to be leaked at some point. It's going to be released. And she'll be out there. Well, he was only on 317 pages of it. It's not bad. Okay, he was actually a co-conspirator, but it's fine.
He was an asset. We all know. Yes. CIA sent him in to take it down.
But he was an unindicted co-conspirator, so it's okay.
If and when a Nuremberg type situation happens, we can only hope that they go through a very similar vetting process when it comes to the executioner that they choose. I don't know if you know this. Take a guess how many executions the person that they chose to do the executions for the Nuremberg trial had done prior to the hiring.
Probably went 0.
That's a big goose egg. And those people had some painful fucking executions because this guy had no clue what he was doing. Like, shit wasn't sharp enough. The ropes weren't long enough. Like everybody died of like strangulation instead of neck break because he didn't know what he was doing. So maybe we can get lucky there.
Did you see it? Did you ever watch The Simpsons?
I did for a period of time. Like I didn't watch like the first 5 or 6 seasons. And then I watched pretty strong for like 8 or 9 years, and I've fallen off since then.
But you remember like the old Itchy and Scratchy cartoons?
Yeah.
So there was one where, Scratchy, I think is the cat's name, gets all buff. And so the mouse sits there, pokes him with a needle, and it doesn't really affect him. It's just a little bit of blood. So he just goes and just jabs him, and the cat ends up bleeding to death because he's got like 1,000 pokes. Could you imagine dying that way? Just, or doing the guillotine where it cuts like half your head off, and so your head's kind of,
Everybody's nearly headless Nick from the Hogwarts Ghost Realm.
But I don't mean, I know we don't mean to, actually call for violence here, but we want to call for justice. These people will meet, and at least Donald Trump has admitted he's not going to heaven. At least he has that, at least he has that going for him. But, the rest of these people, they need justice very badly.
It's a good choice. And it's frustrating when you're just publicly being lied to on a day-to-day basis, and just anybody who is not a moron was like, "Wow, that's probably full of shit." I am going to talk about the person that she is the mouthpiece for, Mr. Poop Your Pants himself, Donald J. Trump. Governmental shutdowns are not good. They are not an opportunity to seize power and do literally whatever the fuck you want. Give money to whoever the fuck you want. Send money to our Argentinian beef farmers when the ones that are here in this country are struggling. Cutting Medicaid, cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare. All things that he's like, well, they're forcing my hand. I might just have to do it. When everybody knows that's why this thing is still shut down. It is shut down so the Epstein list doesn't get out, and he could just keep slashing the government day by day by day. And people just keep buying the line that Democrats want to give health care to illegal immigrants. First of all, who the fuck cares if they do? Everybody deserves a right to be treated for their illnesses. Second of all, how stupid are you? How fucking stupid are you that you truly think the whole government is being shut down just so illegal immigrants can get health insurance? But they are that stupid, Scott. And that's what's so goddamn motherfucking frustrating is that this dude gets up there and he lies and he takes things away from us that have been inalienable fucking rights for 100 years. And people feel this is what I voted for. This is why, yes, baby, yes. Don't lube it up. Just stick it in harder and faster. Yes. Like it's fucking ridiculous. And here we are with our government shutdown. A good friend of mine who, works for the IRS, and his job is literally to investigate companies who are stealing money from the United States government. He's not working, which means those companies are getting away with stealing money from the United States government. And he's out there driving fucking DoorDash because the paychecks are going to stop here pretty soon because he hasn't worked in a month.
Well, that always kills me. I drive to work every morning, and I guarantee I hear a commercial at least once for, one of these companies that are going to get you out of your tax bill, liabilities. And I yell the same thing every time I hear the commercial. I yell, "Pay your fucking taxes. You're why we're in debt." But here's my, and then and I don't know. Do you get more pissed off that he's doing an AI video where he's literally dropping shit on American cities? Or do you get more pissed off that he's taking a backhoe to the east wing of the White House when he's not legally supposed to be able to do that either?
That one I care about less because, I mean, yes, it's a historical building, but it's a fucking building.
Yeah.
I more care about the fact that you're using the United States police force United States military as a police force, which is technically against the United States Constitution, unless we're in a state of martial law, which are not. So he is like breaking posse comitatus. I get that it's the National Guard, and he's doing it in very selective ways to where his lawyers have gotten him around things. But at the end of the day, you have stated that the American people are the enemy, and you've turned the United States military, whatever form of it, on the American people and said these people are the enemy from within.
And we're being led by the stupidest people. Like I remember Kristi Noem sitting before Congress, and one of the I think it was at the Senate, and one of the senators asked her, "What's habeas corpus?" Oh, well, that's a provision that gives the president the power to do whatever he wants. And it's like, no, you dumb bitch. That's not what habeas corpus is. And to me, and these people, these fans, it's like, well, yeah, he's trolling the liberals. I'm sorry.
I don't need a president to troll me. You're the president of the all of America. Yes, you represent a party to run and win, but once you win, you're no longer a Republican. You're the president of America.
I don't want an internet troll as my president. Because most of them look like that guy on the South Park episode where they're playing World of Warcraft. I mean, I don't want that guy as president of the United States. I just don't. And I'm kind of funny, Tim. I think I'm a reasonably intelligent individual. But there are people in this world that are smarter than me. And I am a weird sort of person that I want the president of the United States to be smarter than me. That's my bar. I want a smarter person than me. And at the very worst, somebody who's just as smart as me. Because then after all, wouldn't I fucking do it? I mean, if I was the smartest person in the world, which I'm not, I mean, it's just, I don't, and I've heard, estimates that his functioning IQ is in the 70s. And I don't know how true that is. It's probably just, clickbait. Like
he got the shortest briefs and like with pictures out of any president ever. Like he got the picture book version of the briefs.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to put a lot of stock in that, but what I will put a lot of stock in is that I think it's pretty clear he's our dumbest president. I mean, I think that's pretty, at least in the last century.
Harding was pretty fucking stupid. Johnson after Andrew Johnson after Abe Lincoln.
How about in the last century?
Yes, definitely the last century. Definitely like the modern era. I mean, Warren G. Harding was a fucking moron. But yeah, I can't think of one worse, at least in the last 100 years. So yeah, he's got that wrapped up pretty well, and it's just so frustrating, right? Like, and you go back to the troll thing. You have the largest protest in the history of America, 7 million people protesting, no king, all that shit. What does this guy do? He truths out a video of him wearing a crown, fucking taking a dump on top of a bunch of people. Like, just, and they love him for it. And it's so maddening. These are all the worst people in America. And like, at least, say what you want about the Nazi party. Like the people that they had facing frontward were like suave, good-looking people that were able to like win the trust of their populace because they were like good-looking and charming and things like that. Like Donald Trump paints himself orange, is fat and shits himself. Stephen Miller looks like a ghoul, or it looks like one of the cone heads from Saturday Night Live fame. Kristi Noem is like put together piece by piece by a NASCAR pit crew every now and then, and everybody else looks like like a bad Nip Tuck episode. Like this is like the worst looking group of people that have somehow like charmed their way into like. There's nothing about them that should work. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what's frustrating. These are not like suave, sexy, attractive people who are like, oh, wow, I want to follow them. Like, no, they're all fucking weird looking.
Well, what kills me, Tim, is that Hitler himself was not bright, but Joseph Goebbels is bright. he's an evil son of a bitch, but he was bright. Rommel
He was pretty good at logistics.
Rommel was a pretty damn good general. Again, evil son of a bitch, but so who do you got in charge of the military? You've got a guy that probably drinks a keg every other day, sitting there
I
drunk.
think he's onto the hard. I think he's onto the hard stuff. I don't think we're fucking around with beer. He's too lean. That's too
yeah.
many wasted calories. He's drinking vodka in a water bottle at his desk.
He's sitting there drunk texting, reporter war plans. I mean, it's the dumbest,
It actually imagine the White House as the cat. You ever watch Trailer Park Boys? Imagine the White. Oh, so there's one character, Mr. Leahy, who like continues to like quit the liquor, but like he hides it, right? Like he's got his own personal water bottle that he won't let anybody drink from because it's vodka. Like he says he's drinking iced tea, but it's really like fucking straight whiskey on the rocks with a lemon on the edge. Like that's what I think of like Pete Hegseth. It's like he's going around the White House, like he's got a coffee cup, right? But it's really fucking like vodka. He's got his Stanley filled to the brim, but it's just like straight liquor in there. And everybody thinks he's just the most well-hydrated buff guy in the office, but he's just fucking sauced off his ass all day.
Imagine him wearing sunglasses in the morning into the Oval Office. Will you take off the sunglasses? No.
And then in Trailer Park Boys, there's a character who's like the assistant trailer park supervisor to Mr. Leahy, who is a former male prostitute who never wears a shirt. He's just like, Mr. Leahy. So it's just, again, it just lines up wonderfully where if you just imagine this whole White House as the cast of Trailer Park Boys, with Trump being Julian, where he constantly is just trying to scheme and steal and rob. It lines up pretty well.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
All right. Well, that's a wonderful note to end on, but I think that's all we got for you here this week. We appreciate everybody who joined in, made us part of their week. Texans Niners this week should be a big game in the Costello household, as my wife is a Niners fan. More Rockets basketball to come. Excited for the season to start and happy we got that first good look at what this team will look like. Scott, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, I got the golf-a-thon this weekend, so we'll see if I can take home a little bit of money.
Hey, anything, if you're not first, you're last, Scott. So let's just keep that in mind, okay?
Thank you, Ricky Bobby.
We'll see everybody same time next week on Born on the Bayou Sports.